Welcome to Out of Continues, episode 231. But since this is a special edition, I'm going to make this episode 300 because we want a nice round number. Can I do that? Is that a thing I can do?
Yes. Yeah. Well, it's your show stuff. Yes.
No, it's episode 231. Anyways, this is a weekly podcast posted up every Monday in which we talk about video games related topics. It goes up on outofcontinues.com as an MP3, but it also goes up before that on youtube.com/outofcontinues. You can also watch us live. Woo! Wow! I'm moving my hands in front of the camera. You can watch us live if you catch us on YouTube. You just subscribe to the channel and you get a little notification saying that we're live. Like right now. Boom! Boom! So, I am your host. For those of you who are new to the show, I'm your host, Staffa, and each week I have different guest hosts with me as we talk about video games. And this week I got special guest host, Mr. Matthew Murdoch himself, the Daredevil.
Okay. wait, don't I have a last name in there too?
Yes, Matthew Murdoch.
No, it's hi, right. This is Matthew Powers. Nice. I like the Murdoch. Somebody other than Matthew Murdoch's gonna wake him and go, "What the heck? I was on a podcast."
Exactly. Daredevil himself.
Yes.
The famed game design professor.
Oh, for God's sake, Staffa. Sorry, I have to pick myself up off the ground here from the way my egos get inflated. Thank you, sir. No pressure at all.
And for those of you who are keeping up with the podcast, this is week 3 of Game Design Month. Boom! Game Design Month.
Woo!
Yeah, as we talk about a game design topic every episode of this month. And so this week, the way how we're going to segment this show is at first we're going to give Matt this rapid fire interview questions to introduce him to the show since this is the first time.
Yep. Yes, it is. And let me just say, first off, Stefan, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. This is amazing because this is actually, honestly, my first podcast ever.
Unbelievable.
Yes, I know. So I'm losing my podcast virginity with Staffa. It's very exciting. It's very wonderful.
That podcast cherry.
Oh, God, he said it. Oh, you said it. I knew. I'm like dancing around the topic. I was like, but then you do it. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. But no, it's great to be here and everything. Yeah.
And after we do the rapid fire interview questions, we're going to go into a main topic, our game design topic on Mario Bros. There's lots to learn from Mario on game design because Mario is he's a game design professor, just like you. Yes. He has a PhD. I mean,
he's Professor Emeriti. He's the one. No, he's literally the one we all learn from.
Exactly.
He's my sire.
After that, got a quick announcement, and then we're going to have a few news topics. Not too many, just a few. And that will be our show for this week. So let's get going. But before we get into our first segment, I just wanted to say real quick that all opinions expressed on this show are of our own and not of our employers or the past, present, or future. Hashtag hire Staffa. So anyways.
Yeah. Nice.
Let's get going with the rapid fire interview questions. Okay. And to remind the listeners real quick, since I don't do this every week, just to remind them real quick what the rapid fire interview questions are. There are 5 questions that I give to new guests to the show, just to, briefly introduce them to the listeners about their, their gaming opinions and all that. So, just 5 quick questions. You ready for this?
Yes, I'm ready for anything. Yes.
All right. Question number 1. What's your all-time favorite console?
Oh, God. Okay. I mean, you guys have to understand that I'm an 8-bitter or a 16-bitter. So when you say that, I mean, God, and also just so everybody knows, I teach history of video games. So this is thank you, Staffa, for hitting me with the hardest question right off the bat, honest to God. But no, guys, I have to say, honestly, I would probably go with the Super NES, which seems kind of odd, I know, but I mean, to me was the reason I like the Super NES because it really introduced the 16-bit era. It was the one that was right. I mean, I love NES. I'm a big Nintendo guy. I mean, trust me, I know their faults and their pluses and their negatives and whatnot, but I mean, it really was Super Nintendo just really cemented Nintendo's and solidified Nintendo's persistence and dedication to gaming. You know, this is a system that was supported from 1991 all the way up until like 1999. The Super Famicom system was supported in Japan until 2003. You had classic games like Super Mario World. You know, you had Mario Kart. You had The Legend of Zelda: Link to a Past. You had Star Fox on that thing with the Super FX chip. To me, it was as a historian, I always like to study where a lot of things come from, and I think the original NES was amazing and it was great, but it really was. Nintendo really came into their own with the Super NES, and that's where they felt comfortable enough and they had been established enough, and they just were able to plant all these amazing seeds, which all the gaming we have today grew from it. You know, I mean, we're dealing with Super Mario Brothers 30th anniversary just a year or so ago, whenever it was, and Star Fox is coming out. I just went to GameStop yesterday to pick. I got my Roy amiibo finally, and so I mean, they have Star Fox. Oh no, you have no idea. I was bothering Dustin and other people for it. I finally had my guy at my store hold one in the back. I finally got it. Thank goodness.
Beat up a grandma for it.
Well, yeah, no, I got beat up by several grandmas. No, I let them beat me up, and then I finally took the ones that were left. But no, I mean, Star Fox is coming back out, and yes, I know we can certainly talk about rehashing these things, but, and again, sorry, I know this is supposed to be a super rapid fire thing.
Rapid fire, come on now.
All right, okay, fine. It's Super NES. There we go. We're good.
Yeah. I mean, I do agree that, just real quick, that the Super Nintendo, I feel like that era, game designers were really understanding how to make really good console games, because like in the NES era, some of the third-party developers were still figuring out like the transition from arcade to console and didn't really get it too well. But yeah, I do agree. That was an awesome era. But number 2, name 3 of your favorite franchises.
Okay, of course, Mario Brothers. I love pretty much anything they do. Next, I have to default to the amazing Dragon Warrior / Dragon Quest series. I am like I feel like I have a kindred with the Japanese people because they go nuts for them. I go nuts for them. It was one of my first RPGs to get involved with. And then, of course, default. I mean, I'm wearing a shirt right now that says it. Pokemon. So
I can see that shirt too.
Yeah, you can?
No.
Wait, what? Okay. Dang, it's that good. Okay.
Yes. The listeners at home can see it too.
Okay. Oh, lovely. I should
through the MP3.
Yes, I should put it back on then.
Oh wow.
No, but no, those are my 3 favorite, because honestly, Mario's for fun. Dragon Quest, Dragon Warrior is for exploration, and then because I've got such a creature design thing, I just gotta go with the Pokemon. You know, I can't. You know.
All right. So, question number 3: if you could have lunch with anyone in the video game industry, who would it be? And I am not a valid answer. You cannot use Staffa as an answer.
Oh, well, because that's my default answer for most things. I just go, what? What'd you say? Oh, yeah, the answer is Staffa. The answer is Staffa. That's what I like to say.
What's 2 + 2? Staffa. Yeah.
Even in the new math, even in Common Core, the answer is Staffa. Old stuff, new stuff. Staffa, you made the leap. It's exciting.
Yep.
No. Okay. See, again, thanks for the easy question, Staffa. I mean, as of right now, I would love to have had. I got to answer with 2-parter. I would love to have had lunch with Ralph Baer and Nolan Bushnell.
Okay.
Hey, Ralph, God bless.
They'll have a fight.
No, I know that's part of it too. I really would want to get those 2 guys together to see just how age has maybe tempered them, how hindsight.
Did Ralph Baer pass away?
Yeah, he just passed away about a year ago.
Yeah, so
some odd years old. That's what I mean. I tell everybody
that would be an awkward lunch to have.
Well, yeah, I mean,
with a corpse.
Well, we could polish him up a little bit. I mean, I get a hose. But no, I mean, yeah, honestly, as of a couple years ago, I'd wanted to, but right now, I really love to talk to Nolan Bushnell, living Nolan Bushnell, and like Al Alcorn. I want to talk to the guys who, in my lectures, you know, were kind of like I call them the forefathers, the guys that really started. Because again, the industry, because Nolan Bushnell is seen as the father of the industry, and Ralph Baer is seen as the father of the games themselves. I just want to get that initial how you started it all kind of perspective.
Mm-hmm. You know, I could have gotten Nolan Bushnell to the school. I'm just saying. I know, but we have to be careful with your power stuff. They're insane. I reached. The school did not reach back. That's all I'm saying.
I know. Well, that's a whole other thing right there. Yeah, school's a whole other beast.
Number 4.
Yes.
What's one problem with the video game industry today? I mean, we all love video games listening to this podcast. I mean, if you listen to this podcast and you don't love video games, get out of here. But, you know, we all got some, you know, at least one thing we could criticize about the, you know, video games and the industry.
Well, it really, I mean, it comes down to me that making video games should be fun. And I think that one of my biggest critiques is just a lot of the crunch time and a lot of the and I don't mean this as a cuss word, but the hell that people go through for this. I think that the video game industry exaggerates some of the, I don't know how to say it, some of the motifs of the modern era where everything is just seen to be as fast and quick, and is, you know, everyone nowadays expects you to be a genius off the bat. You're supposed to, I have students that are, you know, get upset because they're not like, well, I need to just make gold. And I'm like, no, you need to practice to get to that level. And I think there's an expectation nowadays where everyone's expecting just every single thing to be the best thing ever. And people are, I mean, people across all the tech industry are like crying at their desks, and they are, you know, it's not a very good, there is no work-life balance. And the way some of these tech companies have tried to do it so that like work is life and life is work, I just think people are missing the point. I think, you know, when you're, I mean, I definitely am one for hard work, but not to the point of destroying people, which is what I think in a lot of the bigger game companies, from what I read and what I see, happens to people, you know. And the other thing I don't like is that I've talked to some game makers, and they you know, there's no job security. There's no farming, not farming. There's a farming. There's no taking care of the employee, you know. I mean, and I know that companies are not families, but you want to try to generate some loyalty in people. And I think that companies could try to do a better job of taking care of the mental and physical well-being of their workers, because I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, the greatest asset is the people. And I think that is, and I don't mean to get on a big preacher's mound here, but I just think that we are pushing too hard to get these out of touch, you know, results and things. And I think that people need to slow down, take a deep breath, and take it a little more easy. That's why indie games have come up so much, because in my opinion, because these indie games are from people that don't have some corporate taskmaster cracking a whip over their head. They're able to create in a beautiful, wonderful environment. Sure, they don't have the money or the resources other people do, but Super Meat Boy, other games, you know, hell, even Braid to a certain degree, you know, they're able to be created in a beautiful environment. To give you a bad example here, it's like when you go to McDonald's and you eat a chicken nugget. I swear I can taste the depression. I can taste the depression in the chicken, because the chicken's like, I've sat here my entire life of this thing, and then I get depressed eating chicken nugget. That's why I'm trying to go to Whole Foods, other places. I'm trying to find food that at least enjoyed being grown.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, definitely the industry, and just all industry, especially tech, needs to take a breath and pull back and really look at the people. So there you go.
Yes, that was a very rapid answer.
I know. Sorry. Okay.
Number 5. One reason why you game.
To find new worlds.
Honestly,
I mean, I'm trying to keep it rapid fire, but you know, like No Man's Sky coming up. I can't wait for that thing, because my goodness, that's why I love going to Minecraft. That's why I love going to Dragon Quest, all these Hyrule. I like to find other worlds.
A whole new world.
Oh dear God.
So anyways, Matt.
Yes.
Those are the 5 rapid fire boom interview questions.
Yes.
How you feel? You survived.
I'm good. I'm fanning myself. It's good. I'm wiping the sweat from my brow.
Oh, your pants still on.
That was intense. Well, let's not talk about the pants. We're going to talk about this.
Your shirt's still on.
Yes, part of it. There's holes in it now from the fire. I'm trying to, you know, beat out the flames off my chest here.
All right. So anyways, hopefully the listeners have a better idea of, you know, your gaming opinions, as they probably also got an idea of your personality as well.
Sorry.
So let's get going to our main topic, the main course, Mario. Boop, 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 boop. Don't sue me.
Okay. You just have to beep that whole section out right there. There's a lawyer crafting a letter at this point right now. Just whenever you don't say it's on, like Donkey Kong. Oh, whoops. Oh, sorry. Whoops.
You know, just a quick tangent on that. It is just mind-boggling that Nintendo trademarked that, even though Ice Cube was the one who came up with that phrase.
I know. It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
Come on.
I know. It's ridiculous.
It wasn't it. So anyways, so Mario Brothers.
Yes.
You know, just about everyone has played Mario Brothers. If you haven't played Mario Brothers, go play Mario Brothers. Any Mario Brothers. They're all good. Well, a few, maybe the 3DO ones.
Well,
That's
sorry.
Or Magnavox. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Either way, don't play those. But just about any Mario Brothers is an amazing game. And there's just so many game design lessons that we can learn from them. Basically, like the level design, teaching the player by showing and doing rather than telling. And I'll let you kick it off.
Okay, well, thank you. So just so other people know that I here at IUPUI, I do teach history of gaming, a bunch of things, but my big core classes are the game production classes where we actually make games. And so this is why it's a real design is honestly just a real, I mean, it's a science, it's a magic, it's a mystery, it's a romance. I mean, good design is like trying to capture fun and the soul. You know it's there, you know when you see it, but you can't quite put your finger on it. But I mean, design is going to make or break a game. Okay, I don't care how good the graphics are, I don't know how good any of the tech is, but I mean, you can have a really junky game or a visually junky game, but if it plays well and it's fun and it's going to keep somebody in there. And design is just, it's something that we have to keep studying because we're like the old men in the river with the, looking for the gold. You got to go through a lot of slag and a lot of stuff to really get to the good solid bits of it, And so, and the thing about design is that it gets really complicated nowadays, because of all the 3D stuff and, like Gears of War. Like, it's hard to see the design in Gears of War or FPSs or other things just because they're so rapid fire and it's more of a survival mode. And then it's hard to see stuff like in Candy Crush because it's so simple and back like that. So I always go back, and I appreciate you having me on, Staff, by the way, about this, because I tell game designers, if you really want to try to get a real solid example where a lot of design points are pointing towards, you look at the Mario games with Miyamoto and everybody involved in that thing, because those really, for whatever reason, there was a perfect blend of technology or limited technology and design to let the design shade to come through. Okay. And so the thing that I show everybody, and just stop me when I'm going off too much here, but like literally, if you want to look at good design, you look at the first scene in Super Mario Brothers 1, World 1-1. You played that. I mean, you remember that. Yes. You got any memories of that thing? I mean, you remember how that starts?
Memories, man. I played that like this morning. What are you talking about?
Sorry, Gustav's not even looking. He's just playing it right now as we're talking. But no, exactly. Literally, if I can get academic on you for a minute, I mean, the whole world, that whole scene right there, and I'm even looking at a picture of it right now because it's just beautiful. See, the thing about good design is that design spirals. To give you an idea, let me get in a little bit of a tangent here. Some people measure time with a circle and some people measure time with a line. To me, it's when you combine those two and you get a spiral. So history keeps going forward, but it also repeats itself. That's what good design does. Good design starts off with a key point and then spirals so that it's a little bit different, but it's also a little bit the same at the same point. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So the thing is, so to give you a point of example here, if you look at World 1-1 with Mario, you got the first. You start off with
Mario Brothers 1, right?
Yeah, sorry, yeah, Super Mario Brothers 1. You starting off there, World 1-1. You start off there. You literally, Mario is there by the green hill, and you've got this kind of open area, right? Nothing's happening. It's just open. It gives you a chance to breathe. Do you know why they have a big area like that there?
So you can explore.
Well, yeah, but also one specific thing: jumping. Jumping is one of the first things, because when I talk about going to new worlds, there's a freedom in going to those worlds. And in video games, there was a study years ago, and they studied a bunch of games and people. And the number one thing that players did at that time in that study when they got into a game is to jump around. Something we don't do in real life. Because if I jump, I'm going to get maybe half an inch. I mean, literally, just the bulk, the weight, the gravity, it all goes against me. But if I do jump, I'm probably in a hospital for the next week. But I mean, when you get in a game, you just start bouncing around. And so Mario, first off, instead of just dropping in the action, the very first even few pixels of Mario lets you explore, jump around, etc. But then right after that, you get bored and it pushes you to the right. And again, I don't mean to get too thick in the woods here, but the thing is that when you go across, there's that first big green pipe, right?
Yeah.
You got the first big green pipe. And the cool thing about the pipe, by the way, is the reason the pipes are green is because I don't know if you guys know, but
smoke weed.
But wow, you wouldn't believe the amount of weed in Japan at the time. No, the thing was they had when it came to their color palettes, green was the color they had the most shades of. So Miyamoto's like, let's put it on the pipe because the pipe's metallic and the pipe's reflective. So we got like 4 or 5 different shades of green. Let's do it. And then, but anyway, so right before
I thought it was my reason, but
I know.
You're the expert.
Yeah, sorry. I think that's some of the weed talking their stuff. But anyways, weed supports weed. But no, but the thing is that before that green pipe, you've got 4 question mark blocks and you got 3 brick blocks. And the thing is you're running, and you're little Mario too. So you're little Mario, anything's going to kill you. You're running across the thing, and then you see the Goomba. Don't. You see the Goomba. You're like, what the heck is this thing? If you run into it, it kills you. You die. You start over. Boom. You've learned the king kills you. Then the thing is, but then the next time you do it, you jump over the Goomba, and the way they timed it, wow, this is the beauty stuff, and everybody listening. They timed it so that most players will jump over the Goomba and hit that left question mark box, which has the mushroom. And what happens is, so you jump over the Goomba, you either learn that you can squash it or you survive by jumping over it, which is a playoff of the jumping that you just did at the green hill on the far left. Then the mushroom bounces off the green pipe, and most people, when they do play tests, actually cannot avoid the mushroom, so they think, oh no, I'm going to get killed by this mushroom, and then they, that's my best worst sound effect, and they will
definitely going to get sued.
Okay, sorry. I'll just, all profits from this episode will go towards Mustafa's legal defense fund for all the copyrights that we're jumping over. But then the thing is that they'll turn into Super Mario, and that whole thing right there, I know I got in the woods, thanks for dealing with me, guys, but that whole thing spirals out. So that just in those first few minutes, guess what you learned? You learned to jump, you learned to explore, you learned that there's bad mushrooms, and you learn there's good mushrooms. I think Mustafa learned those in a totally different experience, but there's good mushrooms. Sorry, Mustafa's learning right now. We were gonna this whole episode brought to you by shrooms. No, but the thing is that you learn there's a good mushroom, a bad mushroom. You learn that you get big, and then you learn that the question mark blocks can be surprises because you get coins and mushrooms, and then the blocks that you, and again, you don't hit them with your head. I want to beat people that say that. No, you hit them with your fist. Those things, if you're small, just bounce, and I love rubber bricks. Or if you're big, they actually break apart, and then you got the pipe. And literally, the thing is that the whole thing of Mario spirals out from that little tiny section to the rest of the entire game. And then one of the things I was going to say, too, which is remarkable, is that this first level, Miyamoto and some of his design team were being interviewed for Super Mario Maker and the 30th anniversary last year. And let me tell you, it's surreal when Miyamoto is sitting there and he's making his own levels with Mario Maker. So here's a guy that programmed all this stuff and had teams.
One thing, I can hear my voice coming from your end.
Oh, you can?
Yes.
Okay, is that good?
No, that's bad.
Okay, what do you want to do?
I don't know, like turn down speakers?
Sure thing. Okay, I'll move it around. There we go.
Do you have headphones to wear?
Yes, I can try to get those. Hold on just a second. Sorry, everybody. Hi, first time. We're going to have a lot of problems.
But yeah, like one thing that I don't think you mentioned, but with that Goomba, it's so close to the beginning of the game that when you get hit by it and you die, you're basically at the beginning of the game anyways, and it'll just restart you in the same spot, and the player will quickly learn that, oh, even though this guy killed me, I got another chance now, and I'll try this again and not get hit.
Exactly. Just a second.
Man, you sound 20 miles away.
So, but yeah, no, exactly. You're right about that. I mean, and that's the thing. You learn and you lose and you learn, but you're not too debilitated by it. It's not like you've lost hours of work.
Yeah, exactly.
So, and then the other thing too, the thing I was going to say about Miyamoto though, is that as he was playing Mario Maker, the thing that was interesting is that he admitted that Super Mario Brothers 1, World 1-1, was not the first level they designed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they actually, he was talking with some of his design partners, and they were saying that they had actually designed some of the water worlds and some of the later middle of the game levels. And then they went back and said, okay, look, this is what we made. We made a bunch of levels for people to have fun, but how in the world are we going to get people to get to this level? So they actually designed World 1-1 and 1-2 and 1-3 to be like this is what's important, the ingrained in-game tutorial levels.
That is very similar, or that's pretty much the exact same thing as to what John Romero did when he was designing Doom. Well, from what he said, that he worked on the levels backwards. Like he started on the last level and worked his way to the first level. And by the time that he designed that very first level, he used what he learned from all those other levels that he worked on to design like the best introduction level that he can come up with at that time.
Exactly. And that's the thing. And see, that's the thing. And again, I don't mean to be too political on this thing, but that's what drives me nuts nowadays about a lot of games is that there's, to me, and I don't want to say a laziness, but there's certainly a lack of nuance in the fact that I'll play a lot of games, and I'm blanking on some of the ones that I've done recently where there's the tutorial level or the tutorial is just so blatant and in your face and so crude and just, just it's not fun. It feels more like a lesson in school than you would actually play a game. There's a lot of Facebook games, a lot of games my daughter's been downloading on the iPad that's just like, okay, I get it. Why can't these be incorporated into the game itself?
Well, one thing real quick I want to mention since we're talking about that, I've read through some of Jesse Schell's book, The Art of Game Design, A Book of Lenses.
Yes.
And in somewhere near the beginning of that book, he mentions the way how different audiences learn or play a game. And basically he mentions that like the differences between males and females. Females learn better when like the instructions are in front of them, like reading from a book. And males learn better when you like present them the tools and have them figure it out on their own. So my assumption is, using that knowledge, the game designers have tried to make games more appealing towards females by, having the tutorials have more text, but it's kind of gone in the, messed up direction with having too much text, too much tell, not enough figuring out on your own. And definitely I know a lot of males don't like that. I don't know about females, if that works better for them, or if they have the same issue as males. I'm not sure.
Yeah, no, I'd have to look at some studies on some stuff along those lines. I mean, it gets into a very precarious position when you start thinking of gender-based design principles, just because of the spectrum. I mean, yeah, there are certain trends in males and females, but then it's just because everybody is so nuanced and so different, it's hard to pin that down. Like all these years I've been making games, I'm still surprised to what games appeal to women, to men, to old, to young, to all kinds of demographics that are out there, you know. And then, but I will say, and it's a good point, but I mean, the point is that I still feel that people could take a more nuanced approach towards incorporating the tutorials, to incorporating how to train people. I mean, a game is, it's like, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's like when you drive a car, do you get in the car and just start driving, or do you write the manual? Well, I think, with modern technology, we can really put the manual into the action and blur and blend those together.
Yeah.
And that's my thing. And so, and I think people have more fun with that. And if you look at some of the older games, they do appeal to men and women, because I think in the earlier days, and nothing against anything now, I'm just saying, but I think they didn't have a lot of, RAM, and they didn't have a lot of memory. And so they had to really get more bang for their pixel buck, so to speak, by incorporating all this stuff. I do think there really was a benefit to limiting technology and letting people realize they can't do everything to keep them focused and sharp. That's my opinion, though.
I know we're talking about Mario, but I want to talk about Mega Man just for one quick second. So if you look at the Mega Man games, like all the Nintendo ones and the Super Nintendo ones, I think probably Mega Man X probably has like one of the best introductions to a game. Like you learn so much from that very first level on how to wall jump. You fall down a pit and then you're forced to wall jump back out of there, and you learn so much from that. But then Mega Man has gone so far, like into the like PlayStation and the PlayStation 2 era. Like, they got to the point where they lost that. They forgot about all those show and not tell, and they went more towards tell. And you'd start a game of what, like Mega Man X 9 or whatever, and you take a few steps and then you get text. You take a few more steps, and then you get more text, like some characters talking to you, and it's like there's way too much story and exposition, and not enough doing, not enough learning. They definitely lost good game design with those Mega Man games. And Mario has been very consistent. They haven't gone the path where you start the first level of Mario game and then you get interrupted with text or dialogue or whatever.
I'm also, wasn't that the one on the bridge? Don't you start off on the bridge or the highway or the road right off the start?
Mega Man X1, yeah.
Yeah. Because I'm pulling my memory banks right now. I'm like, yeah, because that felt like I remember feeling like it took me forever to get across that thing. Just like what you said. So, and that's the thing too. And again, and this is the design pendulum. The pendulum swings back and forth. But I think at this point, for goodness sakes, we're 40 years into game design. People need to start studying the past and really good games and see what's going to help the ones nowadays. And two things I wanted to say too, just kind of throw this out there. Two really interesting things. One, Nintendo came out about a couple of years ago. They started testing Super Mario Brothers 1 on modern kids. Like the same kids that played Mario back in '85, they played on the same age group now, and the kids now could not complete the level or parts of the game.
Wow.
And we don't quite know why that is. We don't know if the kids were just trained differently from birth. We don't know what it is, but Nintendo did actually release some kind of apology, some kind of apology thing. We're like, sorry, we're going to work on things. And so that was interesting. The other thing, too, is I just read a thing about a year ago. They showed that women are actually now the #1 gaming demographics in the world. They said that women over the age of 55 are one of the biggest, and that women between the ages of 15 and 25 were one of the biggest. And the older crowd was they were playing games like Candy Crush and puzzle games and kind of social games. And then, but the ladies that were playing it between 15 and 25, they were playing just everything. So it's just funny, everybody always thinks that gamers are just big fat white guys like myself, but it's like, no, it's everybody at this point too, which is why I think we have even more responsibility to try to explore the different ways these games can teach you to increase the fun. As a teacher, I remember being trained and that we were shown a chart, and I still remember this day, of the 15 different types of learners. There's a group of people out there called kinetic learners that can only learn by running around and walking and doing stuff on a treadmill. But I think the more that you're able to incorporate the aspects of the game into the game, like with Mario, the more success you're going to have.
Yeah. Have you talked about the level design of Mario? Like, other than the first level.
Oh, well, yeah, that's the thing. You can take every level, break it down. One other thing I'll show you real quick, which is great in Super Mario Brothers 1, World 1-1, towards the flag, towards the end there. It's always funny because you've got two sets of steps. You got one set of steps that go up, and then there's a pit, but it's actually a dry pit. There's a little bush in there, and then you fall in there, you jump out. But then the second set of steps actually has a full abyss, has a full pit, right? And if you fall in that, you die. And so that right there is another great little tiny microcosm of, hey, here's what the game is preparing you for. Because first off, the first one teaches you run up the stairs, jump, and you're okay, like with a safety net. The second one says do the same thing, but now guess what, buddy or lady or whoever's playing, it's serious now. Now you're big time, because if you fall in this pit, boop, 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 you're gone. Then the thing is, all of that is building you up for the giant stairs for you to get the flag and, win as many points as you can.
I took that and implemented it into Beware the Bully, where I have a jump where it's safe. There's there's floor in between the two pillars, and then I have another jump where this one's for realsies now. If you if you don't make it, you die.
See, and that's great. No, I remember that. I loved your game, and that was part of it. I mean, look, like even in baseball, they have the batter's box. They literally have the dugout, the batter's box, and then home plate. You have to get people geared up. Humans learn from repetition and from multiple choices, which, okay, on a side note, which is why I have a big problem with education, because, like you took my class. I mean, I only have one chance to give you a midterm. But if I had a chance to give you a midterm, and if you failed it, and then you got to take it again, not only would you get a better grade, but you'd be more invested in it, and you'd learn more from it. You know, games show us the way that we really learn. Because again, in Mario Brothers, if you fall down that pit, you got 3 lives. And even if you lose all 3 lives, you get to start over again, and people don't see it as consequential. But yet, sorry, I just get so aggravated, because if we were able to take some of the gaming parts and gamify education and gave people more chances and more repetition, I think we'd see a lot more solid learning. Just like when I study a book, I got to read a book 2 or 3 times to really get it. I don't know if you're the same, but I read a book and I just kind of get it. Then I read it the second time, like, oh, now it really hits home. Then the third time I read the book, my mind has already, the pathways have actually generated to be able to look and analyze and then conceive new thoughts from it. So that's a great thing about Mario is Mario starts you off and lets you, I mean, yeah, there's a time limit in enemies, but basically everything in the game is trying to make you a hero, which is why, like, there's Bowser. You can't have a hero without a bad guy. So the game is doing everything it can to make you earn the positive feelings to which you were generating from the thing. You see, it's a good cop and bad cop at the same time.
You know, speaking of lives, real quick,
yeah,
I feel like we've gotten to a point where, for the most part, I feel like lives have gotten obsolete. I know we had like somewhat of the discussion as you're looking over Beware the Bully. And you're telling me that I should put lives in the game. And I was like, no, I don't think I should put lives in the game. I want people to beat the game. And a lot of games these days have let go of lives. I mean, very few games. I know Mario still has lives in the games. But I feel like lives is something that was specifically for arcades. And John Carmack talked about this a little bit when I was watching a video where he was talking about Doom. And comparing it to Wolfenstein, he said Wolfenstein had lives because at that time lives was the norm. That was just a check box that you check off when you're working on a game. It's like, does it have lives? Yes, it's a game. But when they're working on Doom, they're like, well, this doesn't make sense in our game because it's not an arcade game. We're not trying to take people's quarters. So there's really no reason for us to put lives in this game. So that's why Wolfenstein had lives, just because they didn't know better. And then Doom didn't have lives because they're like, this doesn't make sense. Right. And, like, even with like the Mario games, I feel like lives have gotten to a point where they're like, they're there, but they don't really matter anymore because you're racking up like 99 lives, and what are you gonna do with all those extra lives? It doesn't even matter. You're just racking them up just for the sake of having lives.
But yeah, no, I do want to cover back to your thing about the lives thing. You see,
okay.
That just, well, no, I mean, I know what you're saying. But see, to me, there's certain aspects of gaming, of the gaming world, of the gaming genre, which can, just like we say, gamification of real world. There are certain bits of gaming which I think just help make gaming be gaming. And yes, I applaud those games that don't have lives. I love experimentation. But it's to give you an example, it's like, if I'm going to go real old school, it's like Steve Slug Russell's Space War back in the 70s, right? It was a game that he made himself with ticker tape that was played on a PDP-1, and it was funny because everybody in the little Tech Model Railroad Club, these guys wanted to make a real game. They had one guy make a planetarium, they had one guy make this, make that, and so they were really trying to make this a real space game. But then when Slug went back in there and tried to make the missiles to be accurate, like real missiles in the real world, everybody lost their minds. Because they said, yeah, even though that part is not correct as it would be in the real world, this is not a simulation. This is a game. And when he made the missiles real, he made the game less fun. You see, that's the thing. And so to me, to make a game fun, there are certain game aspects, just like coins or this or that, or power-ups or unlimited ammo or things like that. I mean, we have to ask ourselves that. Are we making a game, or are we trying to make a real world simulation? Just how far is this? I mean, like with The Last of Us and other games, I know we're trying to create a real world 100%, experience here. But to me, just being an 8-bitter and being from the old days, I think there are still aspects of game that can go in to keep things fun.
Yeah, I mean, like, for a game to be a game, I can hear my voice again coming from your end.
Okay. I did not do anything else different, by the way.
Okay. Do you still have your headphones on?
Yes.
Maybe
Okay.
you might want to lower the volume a bit, maybe.
Okay, just a second. All right, how's that?
Okay, I don't hear myself anymore. That's good.
Okay.
All right. So, anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, for a game to be a game, it needs to. I hear myself again. Maybe I don't know.
I literally have not done anything differently. I'm trying to.
That's weird. What technology is an idea over
Yes.
the School of Informatics and Computing. Well, anyways, so for a game to be a game, it needs to have some sort of a challenge behind it. Otherwise, you're not. It's not really a game. It's more of just an experience. And so for a challenge to be a challenge, there needs to be some kind of some kind of a drawback if you fail. And so I understand that, but I mean, a lot of these games that have lives, like Mario, they have checkpoints. That if you die, you go back. Now, in the very first few Mario games, when you run out of lives and then you run out of continues, you have to. When you're out of continues, you have to start the whole game all over again. Nowadays, I mean, the more recent Mario games, if you run out of lives, then you just have to start the level all over again. It doesn't take you all the way back to the beginning of the game. So they're kind of shifting, the usage of lives. But pretty much what I'm saying is a lot of the games that use a lot of the games, they already have checkpoints. So you die, you go back, you do it all over again. Now games that lives make sense nowadays would be like Candy Crush. It makes perfect sense for Candy Crush to have lives because you try, you fail,
right?
Try again, you're out of lives. Now the punishment is you can't play again until the timer refills you with more lives, or you have to beg your friends for lives, or you have to pay them money for lives. They got to make money somehow. They can't just let you play forever for free. It goes back with like the whole arcade mentality. Arcades had lives because you got to put in quarters. They got to make their money. Now, for a game that's you're paying full price, whether it's like $60 retail game or if it's like a $15 indie game, you already bought the game. They're not going to make any more money off of you. So why should the designer prevent the player from completing that game? I mean, there should be a challenge to it, but it should not be like, hey, I keep on losing, I gotta keep restarting the whole game. That's why the whole checkpoint system with some of the more recent games, they allow for the person to retry the area over and over and over until they finally get it, or until the game says, hey, you suck so much, we're going to bump this game down to easy mode, and then you're going to finally get through this.
Right.
So, yeah, like I do think lives, like as far as like adventure games or action games, platformers, I think lives has become obsolete.
Well, and that's fine, and I understand where you're coming from, the thing, and I don't mean lives to be like you have 3 lives and you have to start the whole game over. I just like any sort of game mechanic that's going to allow people to learn repetitively about the situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I know you're saying that the classic idea of 3 lives and you're out. Yeah, I understand that's a bit archaic, but still, still having multiple chances, multiple checkpoints. And that's the thing though about the gaming, is that these are all tools at the game designer's, fingertips. How many lives do I allow? Do I allow checkpoints? Do I only have 1 life? Is there a game mechanic we haven't thought of right now that, but in some way allows people to repetitiously enjoy and repeat and learn from it? I mean, to me, a game is not fun if I just have 1 life and it's like real world. There was a zombie game where you get shot once and you're dead, which is very realistic, but not very fun.
Zombies
for me,
real.
What?
Zombies aren't real.
Yeah. Come back to Indiana. No, anyways. We've got them in spades. I'm kidding. No, but I mean that's that's the thing that's the argument I'm making, is that I want game designers to be able to look at their games and say, okay, what is the best thing for my players to get through it? And no game should ever, unless you're one of these evil little trolls on Mario Maker online, no game should ever want to totally bash the player and keep them from succeeding. But I mean, it comes down to, like you said, a game is a challenge. It's a directed, played challenge. How much of that challenge is there? Is it going to be like I can't name the name of it, that level on Battletoads where you're flying through like the intestinal tract and you can't get through it? Or is it going to be like, some of these easy games where no matter what you do, you win? I mean, that's the thing we have to figure out right now. I mean, and even then right now that brings up another case, because I mean, I do feel like games are getting a little bit too easy in some cases, just because game designers feel like they feel like they have to please the public. The public wants to be able to buy a game and they get a pat on the back. And I still want people to be able to feel like they've earned things from a game, to actually have stretched themselves. I think a good game pushes people to stretch themselves and push themselves. Because I mean, there's many games that I've played that I think, oh, I can't do this, but then I'll get angry and I'll put the controller down, I'll walk away, but then I let my subconscious do the math in the back, and I come back and hey, like I've gotten better.
So what do you think about like which one? It was like one of the like new Mario Brothers Wii or something like that it allowed for the game to beat certain parts of the level for you. And also,
I'm not familiar with that. I'm trying to think of which one we mean on that one.
I can't remember which one, but one of them allowed for, like, if you couldn't beat a certain area, you can let the game play itself for you. And I know also this the new Star Fox that's coming out. They are also adding like an invincibility mode for people who cannot get through the game on their own.
Well, see, okay, I have to take some of that in from it, because some of that flies in the face of just me as a game designer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's certainly, oh, sorry, deep, long sigh. Sorry, there's just
I mean, they did mention that if you play the game without invincibility mode, it's still definitely a challenge.
Yeah.
But they're saying that there is a mode that will, allow the player to be invincible if they cannot get through the game on their, if the game is too hard for them.
God, I mean, and that's the thing. I don't want to be too harsh, and I know nobody likes to be harsh nowadays or anything, but to me, that's a cop out.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it is. I know I'm like the only guy in the room that thinks some of this stuff, but I mean, it's like, I just thought of an example a minute ago and it escaped me, but I think that people are getting too lazy. I mean, I know what it was. It's like in World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft is having to survive in the face of play to pay. You've got your subscription model, and then you've got those free to play games like Lord of the Rings and other things where the entry fee is $0, but then you come in there and you have to buy this. Just another example. My daughter just got this game called Monster Legends, and to get it's free, but then in order to do anything really, you have to keep buying $1.99, $4.99, little crystals to support all this stuff. And if you have enough, it gets to the point where if you just have enough money, you can get to any point. Like in World of Warcraft, you can buy the armor. I mean, there was a thing I saw where you can actually put some money down, and the armor that you can customize your armor to visually look like super high-end tier armor, and you can make everybody think that you're some sort of high-end gamer. And even though your armor doesn't have the stats of that high-end tier gaming armor, you still look like a bad boy. You look like a, I'm trying to not say certain words, but it's like, he's tough. I mean, that's what drives me nuts. I mean, it's okay in my mind to have a hierarchy of gamers, to have a gold, silver, and bronze level. I mean, gaming is not in the industry of making people feel great about themselves. I mean, that's therapy. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, there are certain games that I cannot beat, but I still enjoy playing them, and I understand, and I've learned my own limitations. I've learned my own abilities and my limitations. Do not ask me to play a racing game. Mm-hmm. I will be like grandma on a Sunday afternoon. I will not be able to everybody will zip right past me. But, an RPG or some puzzle game or Skylanders, I will be able to have fun and stick with it and get to the point of it. So, again, I know I'm sorry I'm being harsh, but I just think that you know, I don't like the idea of the invincibility mode. To me, that's a cop-out. That's like, okay, great for you. You're going to buy the game, you're going to turn on a button, and you pretty much just, it turns into a let's play video where you just get to watch and, you know, see what happens. I mean, it'd be like if you would play Mario Brothers, and guess what? Here's a new mode where when you get the invincibility star, it lasts the whole game. You know, I mean, it may be great in terms of I get to see every level and I get to see every enemy, but did you really earn to see that stuff? I don't think so.
Yeah, I was hanging with one of my friends. This was like over 10 years ago. I was with one of my friends, and this is before I really got into, you know, studying game design. And I was with one of my friends, and his girlfriend, you know, she knew that I had God of War, and she was like, "Oh, I saw that God of War game. I want to play it. Can you bring it over?" So I brought it over. I let her play God of War, and she could not get past the very first Hydra boss. And she was like, "Hey, can you beat this boss for me?" I was like, "No, no, I won't." She was like, "Why not? I can't get past it." I was like, "If I do this for you now, you will not be able to beat the rest of the game or get through any of the rest of the game." She was like, "Please get through." And you know, this was even before I started, you know, getting to studying game design. I knew back then that, you know, if I did that for her, you know, it's like the whole, you know, teach a man to fish.
Yep.
And or if you fish for them, you know, whatever the heck it is. But it's the same concept. You know, I wasn't going to beat that first boss, which was really like an introductory to the game boss. You know, it teaches the players how to play God of War.
Yeah.
And you know, I was like, "No, I'm not gonna beat this for you, because if I beat this for you now, you're not gonna be able to play any of the rest of the game."
Exactly. And I don't want to be harsh. You're right. I don't want to be harsh. I mean, there's a balance between teaching people and letting them do it on their own. I mean, I've learned that being a teacher for the last, I've been a teacher now for, you know, 12 years in some regard. Yeah, I'm going into my 10th year here at IPY. Can you believe that? Ugh, I've corrupted that many people.
Unbelievable. I thought maybe 2. You're so young.
Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. I know it's just the cream I put on at night, stuff. It's just a really good cream. But I mean, seriously, when a student comes to my class, I will teach them and help them and guide them, and I will do everything I can to show them the ropes and everything. But then when a student comes up for capstone, as you know, like we tell people, capstone is not a time to really teach. Capstone is a time to mentor and to guide and to be the sage, like in a Legend of Zelda game, you know, not give you all answer. You got to do it on your own. And yes, I get frustrated when I can't do stuff, and I will try to find as many resources and things. But like, again, another example, when I try to teach myself Unreal, you know, I will go online, I'll watch videos, I'll email people, I'll talk to other people, etc. But then, you know, there comes a point where I just run out of that and I have to figure it out myself. And there's nothing more satisfying when, by goodness, I can actually solve and make and create something myself. You know, it's like with my drawing and my stuff, you know, I bring something from nothing. You can always, and that's the thing with the games nowadays. I think we just have not found that perfect match between guiding and teaching and training people, and then also letting them do it up on their own. I mean, if we help everybody with everything, you can't fend for yourself. Just like kids, raising kids, you can't helicopter parent them your whole life. You got to let them fall and, you know, hit the ground and pick themselves up and learn to survive, because it comes down to this, is that, you know, at certain parts of your life, you're going to be alone, and you can't be super reliant on everything for everybody else. I'm sorry, this turned into a motivational speech, right? This has gone from gaming to, I'm like Tony Robinson now. But I mean, you've got to learn to do things for yourself. But that's gaming. I mean, that's great about gaming. Gaming says, hey, here's this beautiful world. Here's how to get from A to B. We're going to help you, but you got to do it on your own. And then when you beat Bowser, when you beat Ganon, you're like, wow, I did that. And you know what that does? That gives you a one heck of a morale boost. Like when I'm teaching people, I'm like, don't worry about making the whole game right now. Just do a mini victory. Get the character made, then get this design, and then program this. And eventually the mini victories will form such a base of victory that they will help push you over the major challenges that come down the pipeline. So, I mean, I got to tell you one of the things. I was really disappointed a couple of years ago. I played some sort of social game, and I hit the zoom out button, you know, to see like the whole land.
Okay.
And I got an achievement for it. Seriously, I got a pat on it said, good for you, bird's eye view. And I'm like, no, you stop that right now. You literally, no, I do not deserve.
You did it, buddy. You pressed the button.
Yeah, yay! What am I, 1 year old? What, did I not poop my pants? You know, I mean, seriously, you're going to give me an achievement for hitting the zoom out button? You might as well give me an achievement for waking up every day. No, 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 no.
I mean, like the Simpsons game on Xbox 360 gives you achievement for pressing start at the title screen, but that was more of an ironic thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Are we talking about home? Are we talking about the racing game?
No. It was just called The Simpsons. It was the Xbox 360 game, and
okay, wait. The
achievement was like something else. It was like the easiest achievement ever. Like that's the title of the achievement, something like that.
Yeah, fine. If Matt Groening and the people at Simpsons do that, that's fine. But I'm talking, yeah. See, if it's a joke, fine, I'll take it. You know, but anything else, I'm just going to get grumpy. I'm the grumpy gamer.
So we've been going at this for about an hour now, so I think it's time to wrap up the main topic. And you have like any final words you want to say about Mario and game design?
Well, yeah, one thing I just wanted to tell you too, real quick though, if you want, like I said, if you want to see how a Mario game was going to unfold, look at the first level. They have made it a tradition to take the entire game and encapsulate it in that first level. To give you another example real quick, like in Super Mario Brothers 3, you know, with the Tanuki suit and the leaf and all that stuff, when you get past the piranha plants and all the other stuff, there's literally a wood block on the ground. And this was really aggravating for players because all the blocks, you had to hit them from below. And so nobody, when the game came out, people were like, what is going on here? And that showed the side bump. And it was amazing to me just as a game designer, because what happens is there's a red Koopa right up there, and you take the Koopa, you hit it, you use it, you learn right there, oh my goodness, everything I just learned about blocks are all turned on their head. And then what happens as soon as what comes out of that block is a leaf. And then what's amazing is they actually made a runway. And see, that's what it is. That's what I'm talking about. It's a combination of fun and learning. So you learn, oh my goodness, right away, I can get blocks from the side now. Then you get a leaf, you get the ears and the foxtail or the raccoon tail. And then there's a few enemies, but when you clear the enemies out, you're like, what's going on here? So then you clear the enemies out and there's just this big blank area. And then you notice, oh, look, ding, there's coins that go up into the air. So you're like, what's going on? And then you get the P rating, and then you learn to fly. It literally gives you everything to learn to fly. And then that's the rest of the game. All the new mechanics, all the new enemies, the flying, the whole thing. And so again, I'll just repeat to people, if you're looking at game design and you want to get a really nice, quick, classic introduction to it, look at the first level of any Mario game, and you will see an entire game encapsulated in one level, which is a beautiful blend of tutorial and learning and fun, unlike what other games do. So there's my piece. Tell everybody that.
Nice.
Okay, thanks.
All right. So let's move on real quick. And, I just want to ask you, Matt, real quick. Do you know, if you're a game designer, you want to like show off like your work, right?
Yeah.
Now, do you know where you would be able to show off your work if you have some like digital work that you want to show off? You know where you can do that?
Well, yes. Well, there's multiple places. I mean,
you know what's one really good place you could do that?
Outofcontinues.com?
No. You can do it on your own website that you can get through DreamHost.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Yes, absolutely.
Because DreamHost, they're a web service that offers unlimited storage, unlimited bandwidth, user-friendly interface, and they're also optimized to use content managers like WordPress. You know what a WordPress is, right?
Yes.
Yes, all that and many more features just for $8.95 US a month, but it gets better.
Yeah.
If you use the promo code OUTOFCONTINUES. That's one word, no spaces, just OUTOFCONTINUES. It'll waive away the setup fee and get you a free domain registration. Bam.
Wow.
Bam.
That's a lot of bam. That's pretty nice.
Exactly. So, got one quick announcement before we get into the news. iTunes. We can use iTunes reviews. The last iTunes review I got was from 2014. So please leave an iTunes review. The way how Apple's podcast charts work is that they go by a week-by-week basis. If a podcast does not get any reviews at all on a certain week, then the way how Apple sees it is like, no, that podcast doesn't have any reviews, period. So since 2014, they've been seeing me as having no reviews.
Oh, for goodness sakes. Come on, people might not know. It's 2016.
Yes.
It's 2016, people. That's 2 years. For God's sakes,
Yes.
get in there and review this wonderful work. We're good.
So if you want to help out the podcast, please leave a review. It doesn't matter how long the review is. It can be short and simple. Unfortunately, quality of review does not matter to Apple. It's quantity of reviews.
All right.
So if you want to help out the show, please leave a review. If you cannot leave a review for whatever reason, like you already left a review, you cannot access your iTunes account because the password is not right and it's making you jump through hoops, whatever reason, if you cannot leave a review and you still want to help out the show, there are other ways you can help us out, and that's by sharing the podcast on social media such as Facebook, Twitter, Reddit, wherever else. So would really appreciate the help. Tell a friend, and if you don't like this podcast for whatever reason, then tell an enemy.
Sorry, that was a good one. I do say this: if you're a fan of How to Continues, let me just say you could use DreamHost to make a fan site about How to Continues.
That would be wonderful.
That would be amazing. So you get a whole fan base of DreamHost, then you go to iTunes, you start a whole thing. Keep this ball rolling, people.
Exactly. So let's get into game news. And when I could do game news for the YouTube viewers, I like to do some screen sharing. So let me do that real quick. Bam, here we go. Screen share. All right, so I only got a few. I got 3 news articles. And the first one right here, U.S. Congressman questioned over $1,300 Steam video game charges. So Congressman Duncan Hunter, also known as the vaping congressman because he was vaping inside the Congress House. So he spent $1,300 on Steam. He basically blamed it on his son, said that he gave his credit card to his son to buy one game, and then it was followed up by several unauthorized charges. And basically, the Steam sales got to him, and he wants to be reimbursed by using his political campaign funds. Well, he was using his political campaign funds to pay it off, and then he wants to be reimbursed on top of that. So,
wow,
yeah, Steam sales, man, they will get you, even if you're a congressman.
Even in the halls of power.
Yes. No, this is just filthy. I mean, come on now. Stop vaping inside the Congress House, and yeah, this is I just thought it was a funny article. We'll move on.
Now something else. Did you see that you can now play Flappy Bird on your e-cigarettes?
Oh, can you?
Yep. On the new vape machines, they got Flappy Bird in there. So maybe that's what he was doing too. Who knows?
Oh God, Flappy Bird, one of the worst games ever. Come on now. So, anyways, this second article I got on here. So this second article is basically a reply to another article, the original being written by Alex St. John. This is titled "Game Developers Must Avoid the Wage Slave Attitude." Alex St. John is like a founder of Wild Tangent Games, which they do casual games, mobile and casino games. And he is also like one of the original people that worked on DirectX. So he basically goes on this article saying people should, or game developers should feel honored to have the privilege of working on art, and they shouldn't be complaining about working 80 hours. They shouldn't be complaining about not making enough money. If they want to make money, then they should use their skills to work on software instead, or move into their parents' basement and make a one-hit wonder indie game to make them millions of dollars. And they shouldn't be complaining about making more money because all they're doing is sitting at a desk for however long and pushing a mouse. That's the term he keeps using within this article. He keeps saying pushing a mouse as if that's all they're literally doing. So the article I want to talk about is the reply article that's written by this gentleman here, this fellow Arabian Muslim game designer named Rami Ismail. And he's known for his company Vlambeer. They did like Nuclear Throne and some other games, Loof Trousers. So anyways, he replied on the same website, which is venturebeat.com. Basically, the article, the way how it's structured is that Alex St. John's portion is in bold, and the non-bold portions are Rami's reply. And, he pretty much tears them apart. He does it in a very professional manner too, and just points out, look, we're not just sitting at a desk pushing a mouse. There's programmers are coming up with like really complex let me get okay, programmers are continuously working at their utmost mental capacity, solving and optimizing highly complex and intricate code bases. Modelers and artists are continuously creative operating complex software to create high quality art that needs to not just look nice but also animate, shade, and interact nicely. Musicians are continuously creative, exploring new ways to weave game and sonic qualities. Designers are continuously struggling with communicating ideas, creating interactive player feedback, test feedback at the forefront of our understanding of human-machine interaction. Like he pretty much tears Alex St. John apart with this nicely worded reply article. And I'm not gonna go through the whole thing because it's quite long, but it's definitely worth a read. Matt, you have some opinions on this?
Well, I'm certainly, yeah. We were talking before the show and everything. I certainly agree with this wonderful response. The initial article by the original guy. You've heard that repeated throughout history. This is why we have to have unions. This is why we have to have employee compensation and rights. Because it's unfortunate, but people at the top tend to exploit people at the bottom. And this is what I was saying earlier. The industry does not need to be this deep, miserable mine of people working themselves to the bone. There needs to be a mental, physical, religious, social, monetary balance and all this stuff. We're people. We should treat each other decently. And no, these people everyone is lucky to have their job, but not to the point to where they have to die in the chair for it. So yeah, I think this guy makes a great response to all this stuff.
Yeah, like Alex St. John's basically saying that, you're working on art, so you should be working like 80 hours a week and whatever. And, like he basically doesn't view it as a job. He views it as an art. It's like, why can't it be both? That's one thing that Rami keeps mentioning. Like, he's like, it's art, but it's also a job. That's how people.
But it's also a skill. You need to be compensated for your skill. People go to school for 10 years so they can learn how to do stuff in a shorter period of time. They're experts in their area. What I always hate is how people that make games are just seen as less than somebody who does hedge funds on Wall Street. It's a skill set. It produces something. People need to be treated with respect with it.
Yeah, and this also not only applies for game developers, but it also bleeds out to other fields of art as well. I have several artist friends from school, and also my cousin. He's a professional artist, and people, when they know an artist friend, they take them for granted, and they're like, oh, you're skilled at this, how about you do this design for me? It should take you no problem. It should take you like 10 minutes, no problem, right? And it's like, no, this is gonna take me all night, and I need you to pay me for it too.
Yep.
It's not something that we can just spew out.
I mean, yeah, I mean, if people get, I mean, time is, I mean, money is valuable, but nothing's more valuable than time. Time is the thing we don't get back. So if somebody's going to take their time to give you something and you know, you've worked it, there needs to be some kind of monetary thing there in most cases, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, they need to be paid adequately.
Plus a lot of artists, they spent, you know, speaking of time, they spent years getting to that point where they, you know, where that good. So it's like they gotta be compensated for that too. It's like, hey, I spent like so many years studying and practicing to get this good. You know, it's not. I'm not gonna do this project for you for free just because I'm good at it now.
Well, yeah, how are they going to pay back their school loans?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, this is definitely worth a read. I'm gonna have the link to this in the show notes. Check it out. And the last news article I got. Pokemon movie rights in the midst of a bidding war. So basically, we have WB, Warner Brothers, and what's the other one? It's a Legend, I think. Legendary Entertainment. Yeah, they are both in a bidding war for a live action Pokemon. You know, Pokemon, the very not so well known indie game, you know, just a very niche game that very few people have heard of.
Yeah, I heard they're gonna be big. They're gonna be big.
Yeah. So you know, they're in the bidding war to try to get the movie rights from the Pokemon company, and Warner Brothers, they had the rights to release the original Pokemon movie. What was it, back in the 90s? Was it 99?
Yeah, 99.
Yeah. There we go.
I saw it in the theaters. I went with a group of people. It was amazing.
And it made you cry.
Oh yeah, I still cry to this day.
And yeah, so they're in a bidding war, and basically, from what this article mentions, that if Legendary Entertainment acquires the rights, then this can cause some political problems. It doesn't say exactly what type, it just says political problems in quotes right there, because of the fact that Legendary Entertainment is a Chinese company, and there's already Chinese-Japanese political tensions. So this would cause even more political issues.
They should bring people together.
Yep. Pokemon.
Yeah.
Gotta catch them all.
Yeah, but see, there's a line in here. There's a line in here that kind of gets me interested. Stuff. It says, "Would you like to see a live-action Pokemon movie?" Wow, there's some dangerous territory.
What's your thoughts?
I mean, look, I got to tell you, I'm a bit of a cynic. I think Hollywood would just urinate all over it, not doing what it's credit. But I think it could be such a beautiful thing if they were, you know, if they had a kid playing Ash and Misty, and they actually had a really beautiful, like, you know, live action Pikachu, you know, just, I don't know. I think it could be so great. It could be so interesting. You know, it can't be like a rehash of any of the movies, and you've got to have some fan favorites in there. And the biggest challenge, though, honestly, at this point, there's 722 Pokemon. Which ones do you go with? You know, you're obviously going to play it safe with a lot from the original generation, but there's so many awesome ones like Ho-Oh and Lugia and a bunch of ones from the later generations that,
that's a Pokemon.
I like Noilbat. He's a new one. You know, they just, wow. I think here's the thing. I think if they're going to do this sort of thing, they need to have like a fan base consultant. They need to have like a little team of super fans that will keep the movie true to its spirit, to the original thing. If they do that, because a lot of these guys make stuff in a vacuum, and they just destroy stuff for the fan base. I mean, shall we say, you know, like Avatar, M. Night Shyamalan. Oh my goodness,
The Last Airbender. or that Dragon Ball movie.
Yeah, I'm the what? I'm sorry, I can't even hear that. I'm sorry, I'm going through a tunnel. I can't hear you.
Yeah,
see, if they're gonna do it, they got to do it right. You got to do it Harry Potter style. You got to do it so that it's, the love is still there, you know? I mean, just like I really love Guardians of the Galaxy. I used to collect those comics back in the day, and they stayed pretty true to the fun and the interestingness of the whole series. So
I see this reaching one of two extremes. It'll be either an extreme masterpiece or an extreme train wreck.
Yeah, there's just no middle. There's no like, that was pretty good, you know?
Yeah, it's not gonna be a Batman v Superman. It's not gonna be in the middle.
Yeah, it's not gonna have people talking about it and questioning it for years to come. It's not gonna be a part of a college philosophy class.
It's gonna be a definitive amazing or definitive terrible.
Yep. But I'm telling you, you need to have a fan consultant. I know it sounds like fan lip service, but you got to have some people in there to be like, this is why we love it, and let's keep it on track.
All right. So that's all for news. I mean, sometimes I talk about comic movies and stuff, and I'm not going to do that since we're short on time. I just want to say that Doctor Strange trailer, pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, that was nice.
Pretty cool. But anyways, let's wrap things up. Where did my outline go? I minimized the window. Maybe that would... Okay, there we go. All right, so... just real quick, we have no listener feedback this week, but if you want to write into podcast and be special and have me read your question or comment on the show, I can do that. You know, you can just write into podcast@outofcontinues.com. That's the email address. It is free. It doesn't cost you anything.
Good to hear.
Write in. It's an email. Just boot up gmail.com or hotmail.com. Go to your phone, click on the little envelope icon on your phone, type podcast@outofcontinues.com, and there you go. It's pretty easy.
I've done that before. I've sent an email before. I've heard, yeah, it's pretty good.
Yep. Some quick shout outs and plugs. I do the Twitch stream. That's twitch.tv/SayedStafa, SayedStafa. I do the Out of Capes podcast with Eric. We're reviewing the Flash TV show. We're still behind one episode, and that's Eric's fault, not mine. And let's see. Crash Course Games.
Oh, thanks.
Yes. You want to talk about that real quick?
Yeah, sure. No, I'm pretty excited to be a part of this too. Two of our former students got a job with John Green, the writer of The Fault in Our Stars, and they run a bunch of great educational channels, you know, Vlog Brothers, and the one called Crash Course. They do stuff like on physics and biology and economy, stuff like that, and they contacted me to help write some of these. They're doing a course on the history of games. So every Friday now for the next, our third episode came out on this last Friday, the dawn of the video games. Pretty much it's pretty much a disseminated course from my classes. Since I teach history of gaming, a lot of that went into there, and it's great working with Brandon Broomgard and Stan Muller and everybody over at Eco Geek LLC. So yeah, just come out on Fridays, guys, look up Crash Course Games and tell us what you think. We're trying to do the best we can. Yeah, production quality is really good. And I was watching, I was like, man, this is just like rewatching that game history course that you did, except a lot slower because you speak like 3 times as fast as him. Yes, I know. Sorry, guys. Accelerated metabolism. That's all the doctors will say. Anything else you want to give a plug? No. Just again, I just want to say thanks, Stafa, for having me on here. Sorry for all the problems here and there. Thanks, guys, for dealing with a newbie like myself. And cool. But no, I just look at Crash Course Games, but of course, more importantly, let's keep Out of Continues going. Let's continue to be out of them. Exactly. That's the way of life right there. So if you enjoy what you've been hearing, you can support us by liking us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. You can leave an iTunes review. Wink, wink. Woo. Leave one, please. You can contact by email. That's podcast@outofcontinues.com. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/outofcontinues. All those things I just mentioned, you can find them on www.outofcontinues.com. Links are on the right side of the browser, or if you're looking at this on a mobile device, it's on the bottom because I have like a special mobile device safe version of the website. Like the website's smart. It knows if you're on PC or Mac, or if you're on mobile device. It'll be like, oh, this is a mobile device. Here's a special version of the. It's watching you. Yes, it knows. So check it out. outofcontinues.com. You can give me a tweet. My Twitter handle is @SayedStafa. That's @SayedStafa. And usually the guests also plug their Twitter handle, but I don't think you tweet, do you? Yeah, well, no, I have one, but literally it's just so that I can see what my daughter's kindergarten teacher is sending out about the class. I never had a Twitter. I'm old school. I have Facebook. That's enough for me. But then literally my daughter goes to kindergarten. They're like, you got to get a Twitter. I'm like, what? what? So yeah, that's just it's a family thing. But one day soon, I'm sure one of these days I'll have one and I'll send it to you.
Man, they are requiring Twitter.
Yeah. The kindergarten where my girl goes, my little Pookie, little Alexandra, it's a requirement. And next year in first grade, they require iPads. There you go.
They require?
Yeah, you got to bring textbooks and iPads. We have to buy her an iPad for school next year.
Man,
that's the modern era for you.
Lap somebody.
I will with the iPad.
Anyways, I want to thank you, Matt, for joining me today. I know your time is very precious, and I appreciate that you took the time out of your day to come to this podcast and grace us with your knowledgeable knowledge in games.
I see. There, you're getting into fiction again. But no, but seriously, thank you, Stafa. Thanks for having me. Sorry it's been so long since I've been here. Hopefully I can come back someday, and this is great. So seriously, thank you for doing this and just keeping it rolling.
All right. With that said, I am your host, Stafa. Thanks for joining us, and please join us again next week on the last week? Yes, the last week of Game Design Month, as we talk about, boom, it's a secret. You'll find out next week.